never think about b-boys in terms of a power b-boy, trick b-boy, style b-boy, footwork b-boy. I just think if you're a b-boy, you're b-boy, and to get that title, you just got to be fresh, you know. And there's different avenues to become fresh. You can be fresh with footwork. You can be fresh with your tops. You can be fresh with power. You just got to figure out how you can make those elements fresh, you know.
Salute to the subscribers, those that live beyond the Cypher. I'm your host, Illskillz. Today in the studio, we have all the way from Vancouver by way of Toronto, Ontario, representing 416 Hertz and the Stonecutters, my man, Bboy Puzzles. What up, Puzzles? How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. Yo, thanks for having me. I've been looking forward to this, man. So yeah.
No doubt. And you know, the funny thing is, like, we've been really trying to get this. We were just talking about this. We've been really trying to get this link up because both of us being fathers, and we'll dig into that later. A lot of times, man, it's just like, all right, let's do it at this time, and then this happened with the kid, and let's reschedule. You know, so like I think a lot of the younger, more single b-boys and b-girls won't understand, but I appreciate you being so flexible, man.
I mean, when I was young b-boy, I couldn't relate to me now anyways, man. I can't imagine me 10 years ago thinking about what I'm doing now. It's like a totally different thing. But, you know, us dads, we got to stick together, man. We got to work.
Hey, man, you know, like what you say, this like dad life, right?
Dad life.
So, like, this is a interesting interview because you and I actually met a long time ago. Like, we were just talking about that 2003, 2004 Scribble Jam. And I don't know if you remember the specifics of it, but I remember you told me you thought that I was from Florida and that I was there to call you guys out. And I was like, no, man, I'm from Georgia, and I've never, you know, I ain't got no problems with, you know, at the time, supernaturals, you know what I'm saying? So it was kind of cool. And then, like that Scribble Jam, man, that was just an ill time. Those all elements, large scale hip hop events, you know what I'm saying? Do you remember that?
Yo, I don't remember that particular story about coming up to you and saying that you're gonna call me out and stuff.
Right.
But I remember that jam. Till this day, it was still one of my favorite jams because you know, as a kid from Toronto, I'm actually not even from Toronto. I'm from an hour away in a small town. I was not exposed to hip hop like at that level, and seeing it in person was wild. It was definitely an eye opener for me, just being in the U.S., being in those venues. We don't have buildings like that. You know, I remember being in downtown, and then I went into a washroom, and then there was no stalls. You know, it was just
and for everybody who's wondering, washroom is Canadian for bathroom. Just in case, you know.
Yeah, and I remember I went in there to take a number one, and there was a guy doing a number two, but there was no stall. And he was just sitting there, just kind of looking at me, and then you know, and I try to tell people after from traveling that Canada and the US, even though we're kind of together, there's a lot of big differences. There's still some cultural shocks to me, like seeing a guy just eyeing me down while they're pooping was like, it was a big thing for me. But that was like my real like introduction to USA hip hop. It was a little bit more grimy.
Right.
It's a little bit more raw. Like there was graph, there was like ciphers, there was like food trucks, I remember. It was like a vibe that it was pretty new. I loved it. It was dope.
Right. And then I remember too, you guys went against, was it Motion Disorders?
Yeah.
In the final?
Yeah.
Because what was the prize?
It was a free trip to freestyle session, Seattle.
Twigs, Massive Monkeys, Seattle, Washington. Up here in Freestyle System, Seattle, repping with my boys, trying to do big things.
Freestyle.
Seattle.
This is called breakdancing or breaking. Like rapping, it's a competitive display of style. Dance as a form of ritual warfare.
Freestyle session. Freestyle. 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 Freestyle session.com.
This is the battle, in case you haven't noticed. Is this the best you can do? No new style.
Ooh.
Yeah,
the infamous.
Yeah, man. And at the time, my crew at the time, Supernaturals, they already got an invite. They were one of the top 8 teams. So Liz and 2 of my other homies already got the trip. And I wanted to go there and win the trip so I can go with them, you know. But in the final, it was like, yeah, Mo D got it. And back in those days, I think we were from the same era. We always battled them, you know. It was like semifinals, finals, we'll battle them. Sometimes they win, sometimes we win, but it was all respect. Like it was that scene was dope. Like the Midwest.
Yeah, no doubt. Because if I'm not mistaken, you guys are kind of close to Chicago, right? Would that be the closest? Is it Chicago, or are you guys more close to New York?
We're more close to New York.
Okay, because I know Montreal is east of New York.
Yeah, we used to go to jams. I think the closest jams for us would be like Detroit, 4 hours, or upstate New York, Buffalo, Rochester. That was about 2 hours.
Right.
Yeah, I think Chicago's about 6-7 hours. Not so bad either.
Okay.
We would go there often too.
So I can see why you would cross paths with Motion Disorder so much, because that was probably their stomping grounds too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and they were cool dudes. You know, they were fun to hang out with.
No doubt. Word. And then, so let's go back. You know, like this is a little bit different because usually I don't. You know, we can't recount the old history of me meeting somebody because a lot of people that I interview, I've never met them in person. But so now are you born in Canada?
No, I was born in Hong Kong.
Wow. And when did you move to Canada?
I moved in the mid '80s. I think I was about 4 or 5 when I moved to Toronto, and I was in Toronto for a year before I moved into Pickering. I always got to shout out Pickering. That's where I'm from. Those small town. It's got its own flavor. It's quiet, but yeah. Then I was there for about 15, 20 years. That's basically where I grew up, Pickering. You know.
Wow.
Peace City.
How does a guy from Hong Kong that transports to Pickering? How do you get exposed to hip hop and specifically to breaking?
Actually, I was not one of those b-boys that liked hip hop first, and then through hip hop and hip hop music, kind of trickled down into hip hop breaking, like the hip hop dance part of it. Like I found breaking first, you know. I was a kid in Pickering. When I first got there, I was the only Chinese guy, pretty much the only Asian guy, and I would get bullied a lot. And it wasn't anything too mean. It was just white kids calling me Bruce Lee, or hey Bruce Lee, or they'll do the eye thing. And even though I love Bruce Lee, I have Bruce Lee tattoo on me.
But, no doubt.
I was angry because they weren't calling me Bruce Lee because I'm a dope fighter or anything. It was just because it's the only Chinese guy they know. So for the longest time, I would just keep to myself. I would play hockey just to try and fit in. But as I got older, people got bigger,
Are you saying you didn't get bigger?
I didn't get as big as these guys, and they were sort of checking. And then my mom and dad never wanted to wake up and drive me to like 6 a.m. practices.
Oh, wow.
Or as Chinese families, they don't want to buy all the equipment for hockey. It's like hundreds of dollars, Right. So it wasn't until I had a friend who showed me breaking. And then he showed me a tape from Bag of Tricks, 95. It was a shout out Bag of Tricks, legendary crew from Toronto. It was Gizmo and Tic Tac. And they were doing an all-style battle against 2 other guys. They're really dope too, freestyle dancers. And like from that point on, it like kind of just grabbed me, like, oh, what is this? And then I was able to do this thing with my buddy, who then introduced me to other guys that were all different races, that we just have something in common. And I kind of gravitate towards breaking more as in terms of having friendships. It was just something we did together. And then I did that for a while. And then eventually I kind of got into hip hop slowly. Like, oh, so this dance, you dance a certain type of music. And then, so then I kind of got into it that way. And through hip hop, I met my friends. And then through that, build my confidence, and then I kind of just kept steamrolling from there. And obviously when you get older and kids get older, like the bully and all that stuff kind of goes away. And then so yeah, that's kind of how I grew up in Pickering. It was friends introducing me to breaking first, and then through breaking I kind of found hip hop, and then through hip hop I kind of studied the culture, and then all kind of full circle.
Wow. How did you I'm assuming your parents are, born and raised in Hong Kong then, right?
Yeah, Hong Kong and China, yeah.
Okay, wow. And how does that work? Is Hong Kong like separate? I know it's like, if you look at the Chinese map, it's like a special section for Hong Kong, but it's not a part of China, or it is?
Look at eye level.
This is me in the middle of crossing one of the weirdest borders I've ever crossed.
The photo is being processed.
It's this one. It divides China from China. And it took me 2 hours to get through. This border is weird not only because it separates the same country into 2, but also because it has an expiration date. July 1st, 2047. Until then, China has promised to stay out, to let Hong Kong be highly autonomous. Hence the border. But the government of China doesn't really want to wait until 2047. They're ready to start erasing this border now, making Hong Kong a proper part of China. And one of the ways they're doing that is this huge bridge. Yeah, I know this isn't really the best shot, so here's a solution. The drone doesn't even have a microphone, but even still I couldn't help but say, take a look at this bridge as it was flying away. But seriously, take a look at this bridge.
China has unveiled the world's largest sea crossing bridge.
It's 55 kilometers, that's 34 miles. It's the longest sea crossing in the world.
The bridge connects Hong Kong with Macau and mainland China.
I always call this some sort of umbilical cord between Hong Kong and China, that they want something physical for you to register in your head that Hong Kong is part of China.
So this bridge and a bunch of other recent developments in Hong Kong are bringing up a lot of questions of what is Hong Kong? Who does it really belong to? And what happens when you erase a border?
Well, like I have so many good friends in Hong Kong, and I'm not the best at explaining the political parts of what's going on. But Hong Kong used to belong to China, but they lended to the British for 100 years. And then they were going to take over again in 97, which is one of the reasons why my parents moved. It's my parents didn't want to live under China, communism at the time. So we moved. Hong Kong, I know Hong Kong people do feel like they're separate, but I know in terms of now it's China. But different languages, they got different cuisines, different traditions, something similar,
Right.
Yeah.
No doubt.
I always gonna rep Hong Kong. Like it's funny because I actually went back to Hong Kong. Hip hop brought me to Hong Kong.
Wow.
And I felt so at home when I was there. Usually when I travel to a place, I have people take me around. I don't like to go out much if I don't know people. But for some reason for Hong Kong, maybe it's like a natural instinct. I was walking around and I ended up living there for 5-6 years with my fiance at the time, now my wife. And we had our own life out there, like a hip hop life. We just traveled around. Yeah, it was really cool.
That's dope, man. That is really dope. So you were saying that, you were in Supernaturals, right? Now, for the people watching, what is first, how did you get down with Supernats? And
then they battled, and obviously I don't know Supernaturals, but I was just calling them all biters. Like,
so you're just on the sideline calling them biters, and you have no idea what's going on.
I had no idea. I didn't really know much about hip hop. I was just kind of following what the older cats were doing.
But you knew what this meant.
I knew this was a bite, and no, I don't know if they were really biting. It's just.
For more quality content from Beyond the Cypher with Illskillz, don't forget to press the like and subscribe buttons. Let us know how we're doing in the comment section, and to make sure you don't miss anything from the channel, smash that notification bell. We appreciate the love and support. Peace until the next episode.